What is up, YouTube? This is Dave Croft. First of all, I hope you're having a great day. I'm having a great day, and this is a video that's going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be a deep dive walkthrough video, but I thought it would be a really good idea just to kind of have some videos out there that are quick tips for working composers. So this is a video on quick tips for working composers, specifically printing or bouncing stems or alt versions for libraries, because whenever you submit a track to a music library, they want different versions of those tracks, and we want to give them different versions of the track, because if a music editor needs something with less energy, then we don't want them to use another cue. We don't want them to edit in another cue. We want them to keep using our cue, but maybe just a cue with a little bit less energy, or maybe without a melody or something like that. So if you're relatively new to music libraries and production music, this is something that you will need to do quite a lot, which is creating different versions of your track, of your cue that's going to live in their library. So in this video, I'm just going to show you a super quick and easy way to do this in printing stems, or also called alt mixes, for your submissions into music libraries. So we're looking at a track called Preponderance of Evidence, which has yet to make air, but it has been accepted into the library, and I am in the process of creating my bounce downs, my stems for them. So first thing I'm going to do is get from the library what they are looking for. And so in this case, this library wants 16-bit 48K sample rates. For the most part, libraries who have music that ends up on television or on film, they're looking for 48K samples. I'm going to go in and I am going to back this up, my starting point, by 200 milliseconds. And that gives me just a little cushion of a landing zone there. Actually, let me do this. Let me do this again. So I'm going to select all of that, and I'm going to drag that back. Just 200 milliseconds gives me just enough of a landing. And whenever we're printing stems and we're printing alt mixes, and let me back up. I am using that term somewhat interchangeably. Stems is short for stereo mixes or stereo masters. Even the verbiage on that is up for debate. And so when you're dealing with a mastering engineer and they say stems, then you might want to give them every single one, each track bounced down individually. However, some libraries will call instrument groupings the stem. So they might want a melody only stem, or they might want a stem minus melody, also called alt mixes. So those terms are somewhat interchangeably, and I'm using them interchangeably, and there's great debate on what those should be called. All right, so I'm starting first with my full mix. This is everything, and I'm making sure that I've got my cycle region turned on. If you're not in Logic, that's totally okay. You can use whatever DAW that you use, whether it be Pro Tools or Ableton or whatever. All right, so I've got it set. I've got everything unmuted. I'm going to bounce. I don't need that. They want specifically AIFs, 16-bit and 14. Okay, so let's click on OK there. Let's create a new folder. Do I have this new folder? All right, so let's create a new folder. It's called Preponderance of Evidence, and this is going to be _ full mix. So let's go ahead and bounce that down. So super straightforward. I am making sure to include the audio tail. I am using offline bounce as opposed to real-time bounce. This isn't really a super processor heavy track, so I'm not really sweating it. In the meantime, let's head over to the track and check it. And I'm just making sure that I didn't cut anything else off the audio tail. Kind of spot checking here. All right, so the audio tail sounds nice. All right, so alt mixes are super simple to do, and I think sometimes we may overthink it. The first thing to keep in mind is that we are bouncing, and we are exporting from the full mix volume. And so all I'm going to do is mute things. So my first alt mix that I make is the mix minus melody. This is going to be the no melody mix. This is often used for beds or under dialogues. And some libraries will call this the underscore or the bed version. Now, I'm keeping my cycle region in place. I'm not moving it around. And notice I'm not going in, I'm not futzing with the mix. I'm just exporting it as is because that's what the library needs. They want something with less rhythmic intensity, less melodic intensity, but also less volume. That's part of what they're looking for. Let's listen to it. And you'll notice that there's going to be 8 seconds of silence here. That's totally okay. That's completely okay. We want all of our stems and alt mixes to be the same length and to all line up. This gives editors a much easier time lining things up. They can all put them together, start them all at 0, and then all of the measures line up, and they're not having to do anything crazy with that, you know, trying to line things up after the fact. So let's go ahead and bounce it. 1648. All right, and we are going to call this mix no mel, or no melody. Let's call that there. Okay, now that that's done, let's go ahead and spot check it. Again, silence at the beginning. All right, making sure that there's no reverb tails, cut off or anything. All right, looking and sounding good. The next mix that I'm going to make is no melody, no percussion. So let's pull out the percussion. Let's pull out this, and let's pull these guys out. And so that's going to leave something. All right, that is pitched, so we're okay. Let's go ahead and bounce from there. No melody, no percussion. Let's just say perk. I don't think I need. All right, now that that's bounced down, let's do a spot check. Right, sounding good. And so from here, like I make those stems or those alt mixes every time. From here on out, it's kind of up to you. It's really up to you, or up to the library. Some libraries are very explicit. Give me this, 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 and this. Some libraries will say, yeah, whatever you feel like. Just give me some that represent some variations of your mix. So the first thing I know I'm going to do, now instead of muting, I'm going to solo out, and I'm going to give just the melody. And this, I have multiple hung drums going on here. I have this, which is stock Logic. I have this, which is a Kontakt library. And then I put some marimba underneath it. Again, I'll do the deep dive into this track a little bit later. All right, so let's go ahead and bounce that out. Offline, 1648, we're good to go. And this is going to be melody only. And again, while that's bouncing, we do this to give editors as much variation, as much variety, and as much flexibility as possible. Because really, editors they kind of take the composer role. You know, if we're composing to video, we see a video and then we write music that matches the ebb and flow of the emotion of the scene. However, with library music, it's the editor that is doing that. The editor is taking tracks off of the shelf and weaving the emotion using pre-composed tracks, pre-composed pieces of music. And so they can do that by stitching together different cues, different actual tracks, or what we want them to do, like I said, we want them to use our tracks so that the royalties kind of keep coming in. All right, so that is my melody track. Let's go ahead and make a string layer track. So these are all the strings. All right, let's bounce that down. Now notice I called this strings. I think I can just leave it as strings. I called the strings even though I called the melody melody. And it's because there are multiple instruments. I could say, you know, handpan or hung and marimba, but I just called it melody. I think that's the easiest to use. All right, moving along. Let's see what this guy. That's going to be my pad. That should be really... I'm going to have a, let's do drums and percussion. So this would be any low sound, not necessarily just bass guitar, but any low sounds. So that would be that guy. Not that. Probably not that either. So we're looking at these guys here. This is going to be my bass and percussion. Let's go ahead and bounce it down. Ooh, let's spot check this right here. Oh yeah, see now we've got some high things. You know, I don't want that. I said the wrong thing, didn't I? I need the tundra strings. I don't want the tundra strings. Gotcha. All right, so I don't want tundra strings. Those are my Thomas Newman knockoff strings. All right, let's go ahead and bounce this down. Bass and percussion. Now let's give them a few, oh, actually, got ahead of myself. Let's check it. Always, always, always check it. Man, I had one track that I submitted to the library and did all these stems, and it actually made air on Fox Sports, and it was the main, the full mix, and the drums and percussion only, or the bass and percussion only stem that got used. And then finally, let's go ahead and do a percussion only setup here, and we'll call that a day. All right, let's check it. Yeah, that works. All right, so as you can see, making stems and alt mixes is really a matter of soloing things or muting things that you do and don't need from your mix. But remember, they all stay the same length, and you don't have to remix and remaster each individual stems. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, why don't you consider liking and subscribing. I do have some links to some other videos that you can check out, including our full production music walkthrough videos. Thanks for watching. Until next time, peace.